Did the suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer commit murders in his own home? A source involved in the investigation telling CNN they're operating on the theory that the accused serial killer, Rex Heuermann, may have lured the victims into his home when his family was away. Now, this new information coming as the wife of the Gilgo Beach murder suspect is breaking her silence. Heuermann's wife saying she and her family are going through a, quote, devastating time in their lives and that it's especially hard on their elderly family members. Asa Ellerup filing for divorce from Heuermann just yesterday. They were married for 27 years. Rex Heuermann is being held in Suffolk County Jail tonight. Sheriff Errol Toulon runs that facility. He has visited Heuermann in his cell 3 times, and he joins me now. And Sheriff, I very much appreciate your time. Thank you for being with us. And I understand police have been searching Heuermann's family home for days now. They've removed dozens of bizarre items, a glass-encased doll, and many others. And we're learning tonight that they've been operating on the theory that Heuermann committed the murders in his home and then disposed of the bodies on that beach. What more are you able to tell us about all of this?
First, thank you for having me on, Erin. And I think it's most important for the viewers to understand the fact that every piece of evidence that could be gathered, whether it's from the storage containers or from his home, could be valuable not only to the murders that he's currently being charged with, but more importantly, if we can connect them to other murders, whether they were in New York or other locations.
And is it? Do you think it's possible there are? I mean, I understand anything's possible, but other locations outside of New York?
We're not going to exclude that possibility. And so I think as we gather evidence, now that we have actual DNA, we can compare it to other crime scenes that may have occurred in other locations, which could be very suspicious and where he can be possibly a suspect.
So, Sheriff Toulon, I understand that Heuermann is obviously in your jail, and he's currently spending all of his time alone, 60-square-foot cell, monitored while he eats, has a television but is not watching it. Is there anything else that you can share with us about the conditions of his current jail confinement and his behavior?
He's currently under suicide watch by our mental health staff, who has put them in that category. And that's really not something it's something that's generally done with someone that has a notable case coming into our facilities. So we have 2 correction officers. We have also added some extra technology cameras facing his cell, because one of the things that we do not want to do is make sure that we are diligent in the surveillance of him and making sure nothing happens to him, because we want to bring him to justice the same way he came to us. Anytime that he's going to be escorted throughout our facility, we are going to shut down the facility for any inmate movement, because we don't know if any one of the individuals that are in our custody have come in contact with him previously and may want to seek retribution.
Hmm. Sheriff Toulon, I know that you have seen him on 3 occasions now. You've interacted with him. You've had a chance, for lack of a better word, to look him in the eye, look him in the face. What can you tell us about those interactions?
Amazingly, no emotions whatsoever. And when you think about someone, last week that was roaming around the streets of New York and also Massapequa Park freely, to be confined in the space that he's currently confined in, you would think that you would see some emotion. But I can tell you, over the next course of days and weeks, as his circumstances change, you just mentioned earlier about the fact that his wife has filed for divorce. I don't know if his children will have any contact with him. And as things start to become more and more distant for incarcerated individuals, their behavior inside of the facilities can change, which is something that we really have to be cognizant of.
Sheriff, his wife did say tonight that she and her family are going through a devastating time. She did obviously file for divorce, 27 years of marriage. So she obviously is married to him during any of the murders that you've already accusing him of, as well as in addition to any others that you may be able to bring charges for. And you mentioned his children, adult children. Do you know whether she's reached out to him or visited him, any of them, since he was arrested?
So no one has visited him other than his attorney since his incarceration. And we are also, monitoring that also. He is allowed to have anyone come and visit him, just like any other person in our custody. But more importantly, he can deny access to any visit. So someone can come and register for a visit to see him, but he can deny the visit.
Has he denied any visits?
He has denied 2 visits.
Is there anything you're able, I mean, were those journalists or were they other people?
Yes, actually, they were
Yeah,
journalists. He did not know who these individuals were that were attempting to visit him, and so he decided to deny those visits.
right. All right. Well, Sheriff Toulon, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on.
All right. Look forward to speaking with you again soon.